tatta dhinta takita dhimta dhinta tam. Hello there, welcome to my channel. I'm so delighted and honored you'll join me today. My name is Padma Menon, and on this channel I share with you practices and philosophy from ancient goddess wisdom from my culture, which is India. And today I'm really excited to share with you a fun practice. It's called the churning, and it is a practice that is helpful to clear the mind. Now, when we say clear the mind, I don't mean it in the usual way, because we think that usually we want to clear the mind by controlling the mind, by making it single-pointed, or by finding a solution that's linear. But here we are actually going to step into and enjoy and celebrate a bit of chaos and disorder and messiness in order to clear the mind. So let me just give you a quick explanation about this, because this will be really helpful when you practice. So this practice is really good for those moments in your life when you feel like you're stuck in your thoughts, where you feel like you're paralyzed. Your mind has got a stranglehold. You're trying to kind of crash your way through something, or you're finding that there's a lot of chaos and messiness around you in your reality, and you're trying very hard with your mind to sort of push your way through, but you're finding that that is kind of paralyzing you. So this is a really good movement to allow you to match what's going on, match your consciousness to what's going on around you, and through that matching it awakens a very different intelligence and perception that is far beyond the capacity of the mind. Because in goddess wisdom, the mind is only a small aspect of your consciousness, and the mind has very particular habits and frameworks that it looks at reality, which is about control, which is about finding very solution oriented in a linear way, and it's also about mastery. So, and sometimes reality, well, at most times, is much more than that, much more than the ability of the mind. So in this practice, what we do is we actually step beyond the mind to move into the intelligence of the body, of the sensation, and through that we then infuse the mind with a broader sensation, broader perception, broader intelligence, and an awareness than is possible if we just stick to the usual frameworks of the mind. Now, it may seem a bit abstract when I'm talking to you, as these practices always do, but let's step into the practice and see how it can shift your awareness and your consciousness. Now, this practice is based on a traditional activity that women used to do, and this is the churning of the buttermilk or the yogurt in order to bring the butter to the surface. So what they used to do is they used to have these earthen pots, and they had a churning stick, and the women would churn. So if you imagine that this pot has buttermilk in it, they used to churn the buttermilk or the yogurt. They churned and churned and churned and churned until the butter rose to the surface, and then they would remove the butter out by ladling their hands. Now, when they're churning, there's a lot of messiness. The yogurt or the buttermilk keeps splashing out, but it didn't matter, because it was all of the disorder and messiness and chaos was necessary for the butter to rise to the surface. So the practice we are doing is based on this traditional task, the churning. And what we're going to do is we're going to imagine that our upper body is the churning stick, and that we are being churned by a woman who is churning us, and our lower body is the pot. So we drop into the pot in the lower body. Now, there is a pot practice which I have shared on my channel, and I'll put a link to that in the detail section below, so I won't repeat too much here. But if you want to focus on the pot practice of the lower body, I encourage you to go to that video. So here we are dropping into this pot, our lower body as the pot, and we do this by dropping our weight into the feet and a little bit towards our heels, our hips, as if we are about to sit on a chair, just a little bit on into our hips. So once we've got this here, we make sure that our hips are loose and free. And now we go to the upper body again and we start being churned. So just the upper body being churned. So imagine that there is a woman that's churning your upper body. It's important that it's in the upper body, so you're not turning the lower body. It's in the upper body, and there is a slight twist that's happening. This twisting is really important because it actually breaks that linear flow of information from the mind into your lower body, the lower chakras of earth, water, fire. That's where all the sensation beyond the mind is located. So we want to break that linear flow from top to down here. So twisting the body, and now the arms, just let them be loose. So we don't want to start coordinating the arms, because that's the habit of the mind, to start getting control and coordinating everything. So we just allow the hands to just be messy, be swinging around. They're not really following the movement of the churning. And breathing, still staying in the pot, easy, just dropping the weight. So we don't carry any weight in the upper body. It's soft because all our weight is in the feet, in the pot. And now we're going to start splashing. So here's the churning and the splashing as if it's the buttermilk or the yogurt just splashing out of the pot. Now this is messy. I'm not doing it perfectly. It's impossible to do it perfectly and to master it. So just allow the movement to be messy, chaotic, disorderly, and your mind saying, I don't know what's going on here. That's fine. That's fine. Just tell the mind it's okay. I don't know, and that's fine. I'm just going to celebrate not needing to know. So here we are, splashing and churning. Now, it's good to turn your gaze and the head, but if this is making you feel uncomfortable, you can keep the head looking straight ahead, or you can close your eyes if that's safe to do that. Just, again, we don't want any brutality or discomfort. We're not going to be punishing the body. It's really about enjoying freedom of a bit of disorder and chaos and messiness. And now we're going to start swinging the hips. Wow, there's one more thing. Yes, that's what the mind is saying. But we don't need the mind to coordinate. It can all be messy. So we're churning, we're splashing, and we've got the hips. The more we can drop down into the body, the more we're going to be with the movement. It's not going to be solved by the mind, this movement. There is no solution. It's just being in the movement as you are. Just meet it where you are. Easy, breathing, relaxing, swinging the hips. And then we bring the lower body into it. Da-da-dum, 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 da-da. And yes, you can make meaningless sounds, words, which is what I'm doing. And I haven't made this up. It's part of the practice. So part of the practice is to just sound out. That's also a great way of getting out of word and thought. Da-da-dum, da-da-da, da-ba, bum-bum, da. Just meaningless sounds or words. whatever is just coming to you. Tum pa ta da ba bum ba ba ta da 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 pa bum bum pa chum ba pa pa ta da. And now sinking down a little bit as if you're going to sit on a chair. Do 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 do. Are your hips loose? Dee 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 dee. And rise. So it's like, you know, the woman is dropping the stick a bit deeper into the pot. Dee 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 dee. And then coming up as you can with your knees, with your body. Remember, it's always about responding as you are. We're not going to force anything. No suffering here. The goddess wisdom has no value for suffering. Da 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 da. Just dropping and rising. Da 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 da. The hips, the churning, splashing. Da 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 da. And just for a few seconds, let the movement be what it is. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. See what's coming to you out of that movement. Dum dum da 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 dum. And maybe you're moving out of this movement and something else is coming to you. Da da dun da 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 dun da 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 da. So I'm not suggesting, I'm just moving what's coming to me at this moment. Da 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 dun da 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 da. So when you do that, try and lead with the pot. So start with your lower body, because that way you are really starting outside of your mind. Da da dum dum da 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 da. And if you feel like you're going too much into your head, into the upper body, go back to the movement again. Da da dum dum. Just come back, get in touch with that churning, the splashing, the hips, da da dum, and then again see what's coming. Da da dum da da da, gum dum pa, da 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 la, pa pa, da 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 da. If you can, also just keep that twist in the upper body as you're doing the lower body. Whatever the movement, trying to keep that twisting, because that will really create a different information flow, different awareness flow, different consciousness flow in your body. Da 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 dum da 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 da. And coming back now to the churning. Da 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 da, and slowing that down. Dum da 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 da, and drop the arms. Then you stop the upper body and just come back to the pot. Here we are. The pot full of butter. After all that hard work, hopefully it was fun, because the women, when they do it, they sing, they talk. You know, it's not a difficult thing. It's not a thing that they don't like doing. It's an opportunity to sort of talk and sing, share stories. And then here is this butter in the pot. So we bring our awareness, drop the awareness from everywhere else into the sensation in the pot. The first three chakras, that's where everything happens in the goddess practice. I've made again another video about dropping the consciousness into the lower body. I'll also put a link to that video, and that will be helpful for you to know a bit more about this practice of consciousness in the lower body, in the pot. in the first 3 chakras. And then we just bring that movement to a close gently. Remember, our awareness is here. And then as we move it, with our hands, we bring that awareness up so that we drench our hearts with it, so that we drench our words, our sounds, so that we drench whatever we taste, so that we drench whatever we see, and we bathe our mind in that sensation. And just gently coming up, and you can shake yourself out of the practice. I do recommend that you spend some quiet time after the practice, because the time after is as important as the time of the practice. It really allows the sensation to integrate, to infuse your mind and your state of being and consciousness. So this is a beautiful practice to do when you are really stuck in the mind, when you're feeling like there is chaos and disorder and confusion around, and you want to kind of pierce through it with the mind, but it's not possible. So this is a practice where, by aligning yourself with that chaos and disorder and imperfection, you actually come into a very different state of consciousness, different state of awareness, which opens up a very different perception of your reality and your experience of it. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you do the practice, I would love to hear from you about your experience and your reflections. And if you have enjoyed these videos, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, press the bell icon so you will be notified when I post new videos. I look forward to the honor of your company again on my channel.